A signature drive gets underway at the Philippine House of Representatives to fast-track the transmittal to the Senate of 2 impeachment complaints against Vice President Sara Duterte. A third complaint is reportedly in the works. Vivian Gulia has tonight's top story.
The 2 impeachment complaints filed against Vice President Sara Duterte have yet to be transmitted to the office of House Speaker Martin Romualdez. House Secretary General Reginald Velasco explains his office's legal team is still reviewing the complaints and that there is a possibility that a third impeachment complaint will be filed against Duterte.
May mga congressman na kumausap sa akin na meron daw silang pinag-iisipang i-file or i-endorse. Kaya on hold kami dito, naghihintay kami. Maybe today or Monday.
Velasco refused to give further details, but said he was informed that the fresh complaint may be filed not later than next week.
Cannot reveal kasi meron kaming agreement na it will remain confidential until they actually endorse or file the complaint.
His office targets to transmit next week all impeachment complaints filed against Duterte to the Speaker's office for inclusion in the House plenary's order of business. 3 lawmakers from the Makabayan bloc of the House of Representatives have initiated efforts to gather the signatures of at least 1/3 of 307 House members on a resolution of impeachment against Duterte. Once accomplished, House rules provide that such a resolution shall be endorsed to the Senate without having to go through the House Committee on Justice. The resolution is based on the impeachment complaint endorsed by the 3 Makabayan congressmen on Thursday, which cited betrayal of public trust as a lone ground and 3 issues connected with the utilization of confidential funds by the offices led by the Vice President. On Wednesday night, around 200 congressmen went to Malacanang for a Christmas fellowship with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. They presented to the President a House resolution previously approved in the plenary, expressing the lower chamber's support for the chief executive. In a manifesto, several House members also vowed to uphold and defend the Constitution amid supposed threats that seek to undermine the country's security and democracy. At least 2 congressmen said there were no talks of impeachment against the Vice President during the gathering.
Well, hindi nga po napag-usapan yung politika More on ng nasabi ng ating Pangulo. Kung ano yung mga trabaho na ginagawa ng legislative, ng eksekutibo, magtrabaho lang tayo.
Should the impeachment complaint against Duterte be elevated to the upper chamber of Congress, Senate President Francis Escudero says the Senate Impeachment Court is not bound by the calendar of Congress and can hold trial even when Congress is on break.
Na hindi saklaw at labas sa ordinaryong sesyon ng Senado kung saan kailangan nagsesesyon din yung aming counterpart sa Kamara de Representantes. Kung, na malaking kung, yan ang pagpapasahan ng impeachment court.
The Vice President has yet to issue a comment on the impeachment complaints filed against her, but she previously denied there was misuse of public funds in her office. A day after the fellowship, President Marcos visited Davao del Norte, a known bailiwick of the Dutertes, to lead the distribution of land titles and condonation of loans. The president did not mention the vice president or made comments on ouster moves against Duterte. He, however, said that the Davao region is special to him because of the support he received during the previous elections.
Ang rehiyon ng Davao ay may espesyal na bahagi sa aking puso. Hindi ko po malilimutan ang mainit na suporta at pagmamahal na pinadama ninyo sa akin noong panahon ng kampanya at sa bawat na pagkakataon na mapupunta ako rito sa rehiyon ninyo.
Vivian Gulia, ABS-CBN News.
The Philippine Vice President calls on Filipinos to practice forgiveness this Christmas season. Sara Duterte delivered this message at a gift-giving event hosted by her office. But the embattled Vice President bluntly admits she won't practice what she preached.
Forgiving, giving, and loving. Lagi ko pong sinasabi na depende po yan sa tao. Pero dahil ako ay Vice President, kailangan ko sabihin sa inyo na yan po ang mensahe at diwa ng Pasko. Pero po ako, hindi po talaga ako magpapatawad.
Manila protests the latest Chinese attacks on its ships in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine Defense Chief denounces the Chinese as squatters in the country's maritime territory. This report from Harleen Delgado.
The Department of Foreign Affairs has filed a diplomatic protest following the latest aggression of Chinese Coast Guard and People's Liberation Army Navy vessels against Philippine vessels near Bajo de Masinloc or Scarborough Shoal.
It's very clear. I mean, we were within our legal rights. Certainly, we don't understand why China, again, is repeating these actions which are clearly illegal.
When asked if the agency will summon the Chinese ambassador to the Philippines, Manalo said he will be seeing the envoy. According to the agency, the Philippine government has so far filed 60 diplomatic protests calling out China's aggressive actions in the West Philippine Sea. Overall, nearly 200 protests have been filed under the Marcos Jr. administration alone. The government of Japan has expressed serious concern over China's dangerous actions.
We oppose any actions that escalate the tensions in the region, and we are very much committed to the rules of law. And it's quite clear position of the Japanese government.
Meanwhile, the National Maritime Council slams Beijing after it submitted a statement to the United Nations claiming the Scarborough Shoal as part of China's territory. Spokesperson Undersecretary Alexander Lopez questioned China's basis for making such a claim despite the UNCLOS and the landmark 2016 arbitral ruling saying otherwise.
Kasi yung Scarborough Shoal, it's about 120 nautical miles from ours. No? Samantalang yung sa kanila, ang Hainan kasi ang pinakamalapit na probinsya ng China, and that's more than 500 nautical miles away.
Wala naman talaga silang basihan sa sinasabi nila eh. Kaya nga ino-occupy nila, squatter sila dun sa area na yun. Ngayon, dahas ang ginagamit nila. Porque malakas sila. So, ito katakawan at kagahaman ng China.
The defense chief has reiterated the importance of partnering with like-minded countries to counter China's bold-faced lies. Teodoro further urged the public to support the administration in upholding the country's sovereign rights as the Defense Department continues efforts to strengthen the country's defense capabilities. The National Security Council, for its part, expressed alarm over the dangerous maneuvers of PLA Navy ships against civilian Philippine vessels, calling them a provocative and escalatory move on the part of China.
We reserve the right to deploy our Philippine Navy ships as well because unfair, it's unequal if a civilian ship is facing a warship of the People's Republic of China. China also changed tacks, and it might be considered as cowardice on the part of Beijing if we do not do anything.
However, the National Maritime Council shoots down the idea of deploying Navy ships to counter the presence of China's warships in Philippine waters. Harleen Delgado, ABS-CBN News.
Japan signs a 611 million peso defense grant for the Philippine Navy and Air Force. This is aimed at enhancing Philippine maritime domain awareness and surveillance activities. The grant includes rigid-hulled inflatable boats and surveillance equipment such as coastal radar systems. Japan says these assets will help strengthen regional security. The Philippine Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo welcomes it as another significant milestone. Manila and Tokyo signed a security deal in July to allow Japanese troops to take part in joint military drills in the Philippines.
Timor-Leste's Court of Appeals reportedly grants a Philippine request to extradite expelled Negros Oriental Congressman Arnolfo Teves Jr. The Philippine Justice Department says the decision was reached at a second round of extradition hearings. Teves had sought asylum in Timor-Leste after he was charged with multiple murder in connection with the 2023 killings of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Digamo and 8 others. Philippine Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla says the Timor court's ruling is a resounding victory for the Filipino people.
The Philippine House Quad Committee will investigate how ex-presidential spokesman Harry Roque evaded his congressional arrest for contempt and fled overseas. The committee's overall chair, Robert Ace Barbers, says the panel's arrest order for Roque is still in effect. Barbers wants to know why a Philippine embassy official in Abu Dhabi agreed to notarize Roque's counter-affidavit on his qualified trafficking case. The Quad Committee cited Roque in contempt after he failed to submit documents regarding his alleged links to illegal offshore gaming operations.
Nakalabas po siya ng bansa kaya kailangan po patuloy naman din po ang ipaghanap sa kanya. He's still under arrest order kasi po I think lahat po ng ating mga embahada ay alam po na meron pong contempt order ang Kongreso sa kanya.
The Philippines deports dozens of Chinese nationals who were arrested during raids on illegal offshore gaming companies. 187 Chinese were sent home Thursday on a flight to Shanghai. They were caught during raids in the provinces of Tarlac and Pampanga and the cities of Lapu-Lapu and Pasay. Most were found to have violated Philippine immigration law.
5 Philippine Navy personnel are injured after their chopper crashed Thursday at Cavite's Sangli Airport. Navy officials say the accident happened during a maintenance flight of an AW-109 helicopter. The airport's operations are temporarily suspended while the crash is being investigated. All similar aircraft have been temporarily grounded.
Philippine state auditors call out two government agencies for underutilizing their budgets. The Commission on Audit's annual report notes some 90 billion pesos of the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation's unused funds could have gone to expanding benefit packages for its members. The Commission says the funds could have contributed to PhilHealth's compliance with the Universal Health Care Act. Petitions pending at the Supreme Court have challenged the transfer of these funds to the National Treasury. The Audit Commission also flagged the Department of Public Works and Highways for delays and non-completion of over 3,000 projects in 2023. These include school buildings and farm-to-market roads that were funded with 216 billion pesos. Police say an American vlogger is believed to be dead weeks after he was seized by armed men in the Philippine province of Zamboanga del Norte. They cite a witness who claims Elliot Eastman's body was thrown into the sea after he died of gunshot wounds. Police say the witness's testimony was later confirmed by one of the arrested suspects. Eastman's remains have yet to be found. The vlogger's relatives have been informed of his fate.
Late October po, during our investigation, we encountered one witness that told us na nagsabi sa atin na may nakapagsabi sa kanya na nung gabi na inabduct po si Elliot Eastman, na ano po siya, na nabaril po siya during sa pag-abduct sa kanya. At nung pumalaot na po yung mga nag-abduct sa kanya, napansin po nila later on na yun nga, patay na nga po si Elliot Eastman. So ang ginawa po daw nila, itinapon nila sa tubig yung katawan ni Elliot Eastman.